Roll call? Yeah, he's trying.
Go ahead, because I gotta figure this out. It says cannot record from selected device.
You already messed it up? We haven't even started yet.
Well, do we need to stop until he gets it going? All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor Tavalaro,
Yes.
Stacy, Councilmember Green, Stacy,
That one, present.
Other Councilmember Green,
Here.
Councilmember Hall,
Here.
Councilmember Palfini.
And I am here.
All right.
Thank you very much. Non-agenda. Now is the time if there's anybody in the public that would like to comment on anything that is not on the agenda. I can't see who's out there. No?
Okay.
No? Is it just the two of you?
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
I just want to comment on the water, so
Okay, that's on down.
It's on the agenda. And it looks like one more person is coming in. If there's only 3 people out there, do we let them in or not? No? Okay.
I have a report from the chamber to,
For something that's non-agenda?
yeah, they just called me and asked if I would give their information, so is this
Oh,
now
okay.
for it?
Sure.
Okay, so this is for the Chamber of Commerce. April 3rd is the 18th annual Easter egg hunt at Shasta View Assisted Living. 11:30 will be games for the kids. 1 o'clock is the Easter egg hunt. The Easter Bunny will be there. They're hoping that the fire department is going to be, no? Okay, the kettle corn.
They might be there.
Guy's gonna be there, and they're gonna have raffle prizes and stuff throughout the day. Carnivale, the 67th Carnivale has been scheduled for July 7th through 11th, so keep your fingers crossed. They are planning to have a meeting with Tim next week to work out some miscommunication with their TOT. I don't know what that's. And then, the farmer's market, will come to us for approval at our next meeting. And then, let's see, he sent me one more thing. Let me see if I got it. Oh, they are working with Elizabeth from La Florista to put on a 420 event, and more information will be coming next week. And that's the chamber.
Thank you, Chamber. Nobody else out there still? Okay, we'll move on to council member announcements. Ken, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it as short as possible.
Okay, good.
Well, it's not, I have a long list.
Let me start off with an update on the farmer's market that Kim alluded to. The start date is June 12th. The event will be having Saturday from 10 to 1 for, I believe, until April, did we decide? Or, I mean, till September.
Until September, yeah. At Bel Air Park.
At Bel Air Park, we have approximately 8 vendors that have signed on. I would like to thank Yasa Baravatsky. I hope you forgive me on your name, Yasa. Ray Strack, Sue Tavalaro, Kirsten Olson, and myself. And we had a lot of help from the Siskiyou Revitalization Network, the Siskiyou Economic Development Council, and the Ford Family Foundation. They've all helped move this forward, and I'd like to say thank you to all of them. We do have a Zoom call for a partnership with Caltrans 2 to make our trail and pedestrian master plan a reality. I attended that meeting. Our master plan may need to be reviewed, but we could consider the crosswalk at Southweed Boulevard and Bowl Street, lanes for bicycles, sidewalks for under the overpass, signage and beautification efforts at our off-ramps, to name a few. We will need to contact them with our master plan, plus do an online survey to show our priorities. I believe Tim has that website address. I don't know if you checked it out or not for the survey. Did you? It's an active survey. It's fairly simple. Tim has the link, and I'd like all council members to review it and experiment with it and send it to Caltrans. We are probably maybe at least 2 or number 3 on the list, and if we could get some of what we need, in particular the crosswalk at Southweed Boulevard, which has been a bit of a pain, that would be a big benefit. I also did a Zoom call, and I think Tim was in on that one too, with Superior California Economic Development, Tim might have a little bit more insight, but it's about our common goals throughout our region. The meeting was to gather ideas on how to best jointly approach our region's needs, whether it be housing, which I strongly feel it is, broadband, financial loans for industry to small loans to help mom and pop get back to normal through the pandemic. Last, I had 2 Zoom meetings with our resource centers in Siskiyou County. The Siskiyou County Resource Collaborative, they oversee 6 sites, and we have managed to keep our doors open through the total pandemic, handing out 211 food baskets, rental assistant vouchers. We've had St. Vincent de Paul also help us with some of those rental vouchers. We have passed out activity bags, which I have an example of in front of me here, which kind of takes the stress off some of the parents on how and what to do with young Johnny and Sally at home. And that's the end of my report. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Bob?
I don't have much at all. I think I just wanted to mention that we just had last month was the Black History Month, and this month is the Women's History Month. And I wanted to, we pass over these things and don't look at them very closely. I've been doing I just want to tell a quick story. It was about 1972, and I was playing Bob Parkton in Mount Shasta. His first wife. We were playing chess, and she wanted to play. She sat down. We played chess. She beat me. And it took me years to understand that was my prejudice. That was my prejudice that I was dealing with. So, I had the women. Right on, women. And women are making a move now. They're coming into the politics heavy. And our 2 council women here, all you women, I mean, right on. And it's time that we understand that there is a prejudice, and there is. And I'm working on mine. So that's all.
Thanks, Bob.
That is good, Bob. Thanks.
I was raised by a strong woman, so, yeah.
My turn?
Kim?
Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this last month, but we have started on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at the community center, coffee and conversation. And I was seeing the effects of isolation in my own parents. And there's a group of men who used to get together about every day, every other day out at McDonald's or Burger King and have coffee and shoot the breeze. And they weren't able to go anymore. So we started over here, and we actually now have a couple of women that are also coming. And it's from 9 to whenever, however long they stay, 10:30. And we have the coffee ready. People have been donating muffins and donuts and stuff for them. And most of them have all had their vaccinations, but we social distance them. None of them can hear anyway, so it's actually kind of a comedy hour, but they are enjoying it, and so it's open to anybody who'd like to come. I tried to have a meeting yesterday and then again today with Andrea from the Resource Center, and we were both on Zoom calls both times, so we are scheduling a meeting for next week. And Steve is going to join us to talk about restarting our senior lunches. And I guess they had a meeting about it, and they've come up with a modification plan. I don't know what it is yet, but hopefully we'll work all that out next week. And Once again, I am working on the application for the American Legion grant, or, that's what we're calling it. The grant is through Scottsfield, and it will be to do the work at the Suns Ballpark that we started last year. So, right now, the infield has been leveled, thanks to the city. And I think it's Rolling Rock that came and also did some work for us. And then Jeff, I don't know his last name, he owns G&G Hardware in Wairika, donated seed. And so that was all done last year, and it's just starting to, it's still a little dormant, but starting to come in. So that field will not be used this year. So, and hopefully we get the grant, and then we can renovate the rest of the field and the snack shack and the locker rooms. And then we put together a committee to apply for a rural recreation grant to put in a dog park over between the community center and the skateboard park. So right now, I'm just getting estimates on everything that we're gonna need there. The application isn't due until November, but if anybody wants to be part of that committee, just call over to the center and let us know, and then we'll advise you what our next meeting is gonna be. And that's it.
I went by and looked at that today, the flagging, that they put out the flagging, so you kind of, if you look at that orange pink flagging, you can see where the outline is close. It's gonna be close. Stacy?
Yes, ma'am. I have just a little bit. I finally got some notes for advisory call for the homeless, and when you mentioned that, I'll give you all the things I want to give a detail because they're doing so much based out of Wairika. But first, I will mention about the dog park meeting. I went to that meeting just because I'm a neighbor and I could see everything. They were talking about, I said they were talking about some great ideas and this discussion, but people had interest on it. And I think it's going to be a good thing because I watch, if you go to YouTube, you can watch the Semo Comso, I can't pronounce it, but where are those? The big giant dogs that are all over. There's a series on that. I've been watching that for months. So it's a lot of good information that our community people are doing. So it's going to be something exciting. Let's see. And then I have an upcoming meeting with some city people. I want to talk about a few things. I think it's just about kind of what's going on in the city. So I'll advise what I can when I talk about that. And the most important thing I like that I was a part of on March 1st, now I have all the notes here so I can pull them up, from the, it's called the NorCal Coalition. And the title is, I'm going to get it right so I don't mess it up. Siskiyou County Advisory Board meeting for the NorCal Coalition of Homelessness. That's what that's out to be on their calls. And they're just having a lot of Zoom calls. They want to do a lot of public, but I'm glad because they're on Wairika. But I'm going to give you briefly a meeting minutes of what that we did last on March 1st. And I didn't realize so many things are going on, but they're awesome. And I'm challenged with opening all the stuff on my laptop, so just a moment. Okay, well, first of all, there's a webinar coming up for homelessness that they say is good for, I'm not sure if I'm going to attend. It's on the, oh gosh, screen's here, sorry about that. It's on the.
Oops.
How'd you do that?
Echo chamber.
Technology.
Ventriloquist.
It's about scaling up the staffing centering on racial equality for homelessness. And it's going to be on March 19th from 12:30 to 2. And I haven't seen what I have going on that day. I haven't registered, I just saw this. So I may attend that and I'll report back to you what that is. But that's a webinar going on, sponsored by the California Department of Housing and Community Development, California's Homelessness Coordinating and Financial Council, and the California Department of Social Services. You probably know about that, the state, for a webinar. I'm going to ask you about that. Let's see, what else I have? Two more. I'll open up just a moment. There you go, agenda. Okay, so basically, they have a board that has people all over the county that are working on it, and they want to get some more involvement with, as you know, when they mentioned here, city, I volunteered. And they are doing so many things, and some of the updates is that the Karoo tribe was, I guess, affected by the storms and all of the things that are going on here, so they want to get a representative from that person, from that tribe to be on the committee so they could have their voice. And they have a representative from Fairchild Hospital. The person there was not there anymore working, so they had to get a new person. And I've been attending the calls, but I'm not an advisory board member, I'm just advisory board. But they're gonna put some people on the board of directors, as far as voting members is the term they use. I'm not a voting member, but I can listen to all the calls and talk and say anything, and you know I talk. So do that. They're looking at also vaccination rollout for individuals experiencing homelessness. I know we had a big problem a couple years ago, well, currently, but not as much because of the weather in our city, what our police do. But they're looking at ways how people can be able to get a shot and not be accountable because they don't have a residence or may not have something similar. Dr. Collard, that's some person that's, I'm sorry, she's in this area, but she's one person with a PhD who does a lot of stuff with the government. And so she mentioned how surveys are coming from the government and about the program that he mentioned, the new program for helping homelessness. They're saying how Sister County is going to be a part of that, and so I'll be a part of that discussion. Supervisor Ogrim has been elected to the Board of Advisors for this. The other person prior to her quit, was no longer an advisor. I'm not sure what person was, but she's a new person. And they're looking at doing some presentation and guest speakers for 2021. And the county updates, I don't have my notes here, but I know I talked about the home in Wairika. Because of weather, that hasn't been fully complete, but it should be, and it will have people staying overnight. It'll have bathroom facilities and a person staff there. So all things I talked with Chief Nichols about, that'll be taken care of. But I was wondering, no, I haven't talked to Mayor about, we talked in passing, but Chief Nichols, because I asked him why couldn't we do it here with one of our abandoned buildings? And they said we can't do that for liability and purpose. But they're actually building an abandoned building, they refurbish it, and building a place where people will be able to go in. And there's a lot of sites out there that are doing some programs. Ashland's doing a program, I've been watching that, where they have people come in. Wairika's doing a program with tents. Because you know they had the one place where people were staying, and that was not feasible because it caused a lot of disarray. So they're looking at those type of items. And basically other support items, that they have ongoing programs that are in the county. And I asked when they sent it to the resource center because they made a flyer. And I know she sent me the information, I haven't checked with the resource center, but if you can help me with that, I'll follow up on that. But they have resources of all the services that are available for people in Siskiyou County, and I don't think we know all those. But you have to get to Wairika. Or they can be assisted through our weed police, which you know.
The resource center locally has a flyer, like a trifold flyer that does specify most of the services.
Is that current?
Yeah, it's current.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would guess Dunsmuir's Resource Center, Mount Shasta's.
I asked Madeline, who's the
Yeah.
coordinator of this call.
All the
send it to
resource
them.
centers have them, so.
Okay, that's good. And let's see. Then they want some people to be appointed to the mobile meetings that they have. They didn't say who that would be, but the board would decide that, and whoever that would be. So the next meeting is coming up. And they're doing a lot of proposals through the state government to get helplessness for homelessness activities. I mean, there's a lot of grants going through, and we should be seeing some of those pretty soon because they mentioned they're going to give it to all cities within Siskiyou County. And I think that's it I have. It was a real exciting call, hour and a half, and you can't sleep on it. It's a good question, but I'm glad to be a part of that. Hopefully I can give the information and it's understandable when you receive it. If not, people can ask me questions. I can look at my notes. That's all I have, though.
Good, thank you for being on that committee. I had an LTC, the Transportation Committee meeting. Basically, we are hopefully getting more money, depends on how they decide to divide it up. So obviously, rural cities are fighting to get it split so that we actually get something instead of all just going to the big cities. And stage ridership is still at not high. It's about what it has been. And they are working on getting the stage routes changed, which hopefully should be done by July. And that, I'm hoping that's going to be a great thing because they're going to get people moving around their own area more. And that's all I have. Okay, so we will move forward to the public hearing. So we are going to open and immediately close the public hearing because it's continued from last month.
Make sure there's nobody online that might want to speak about it.
No. Yeah. It's, yeah.
We already went through the whole process at the
Last month.
But we had to do a continuation and then close it. The discussion about the resolution, so.
Okay,
I'm just saying, since it was public, you want to give a person a chance, because they may have missed the meeting last week or the notes. Somebody may have wanted to say something, so you always want to give a second or so. So,
is there anybody online?
you checked, you said
Jeremy,
no.
okay. All right,
So just a brief overview, discussion of what's at business here. There's resolutions that are on the agenda. The resolutions are gonna do the following. The first one is going to authorize the amendment of the MOU and Fort Jones, Siskiyou County, and Tule Lake. The second resolution is going to authorize a new MOU. This MOU is going to be with Wairika, Weed, Mount Shasta, Dunsmuir, Montague, Tule Lake, and Doris, and Siskiyou County. In addition to Siskiyou Economic Development Council. This resolution will authorize 2 new CDBG activities. This will be a assistance program. The resolutions are written in a way that authorizes the full award amount for every activity. So, if you're halfway through a budget and you realize that, hey, we're not spending this money, it could be better served. If you guys have any questions or comments, the activities that are being proposed, I can answer any questions.
nope, we're good? Yep. Do them separate. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 012021. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Ken?
Okay, I move the resolution, the approval of resolution number 01-2021, resolution approving. And I'm clicked off, I
Oh.
apologize.
Sorry about
Approving-
that.
Execute, let's see, let me start again. Approval of resolution number 01-2021, a resolution approving an application for funding and the execution of a grant agreement and any amendments thereto from the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program, Coronavirus Response Round 2 and 3, CDBG CV2 and CV3, a NOFA dated December 9th, 2020.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 012021. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, to the
Somebody
next
else wanna
one.
tackle the second
Ken,
one?
you gonna take that, or you want somebody else to?
I can do it if you want. I move to read resolution number 02-2021 by title only.
Second it. You can, Bob, you can take it.
Okay, so Bob seconded that. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 02-2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 02-2021, a resolution approving an amendment to the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program, Coronavirus Response Round 1, CDBG-CV1, Standard Agreement to add additional funds from the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program, Coronavirus Response Round 2 and 3, NOFA dated December 18th, 2020.
Second it.
Stacy, second. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 022021. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will move on to, thank you, Quentin.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, we'll move on to the regular agenda, legal services. Tim?
Before you tonight, Mayor and Council, is an agreement for legal services with Colantuno, Highsmith, and Watley. Back in December, the city of Weed approved advertising an RFP for legal services, and we received 5 RFPs from California firms that specialized in public law. On February the 11th, 2021, the city of Weed met in closed session and interviewed the 5 firms via Zoom, and the firm of Colantuno, Highsmith, and Watley was selected to provide the services, with Ryan Reed will be serving as our city attorney, and Gary Bell will be serving as the assistant city attorney for the city of Weed.
Okay, any discussion? No? Motion?
Motion.
I'll make a motion
You want to move it?
to approve the contract for, let me get their names again,
For legal services?
for legal services, Colantano, Highsmith, and Watley.
Okay,
I will second it.
thank you, Stacy. It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract with CHW for legal services. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Ms. Mayor, I
Yes.
just make a statement with that motion. And from my standpoint as a city council member, I thank our previous and our previous, to this point, legal representation for what they have done all these years.
I agree.
Yes, thank you, Bob.
I would agree, and thank you, Stacy, for doing that.
All right, well, we will move on to item B, real property. The council will consider contract for purchase of real property.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, before you tonight is agreement with Crystal Geyser Roxanne to purchase the exclusive ownership to 2.0 cubic feet per second of the, is it the Bohan? Is that how you pronounce it?
Bohan.
Yeah, I got it. The Bohan Springs waters. And just to give a quick background as to how we got here. Back in the summer of 2020, I had a meeting and met with the ownership and management of Crystal Geyser Roxanne here in Weed. And we had some discussions about our litigation with Roseburg, not in detail, but it's, it was just in general. They knew that we were in court with them in regards to the 2.0. So as the conversation started and began, I can compare it to one other thing that's happened to me at a previous city. In Durant, we got an EDA grant for $1.5 million to expand our wastewater facility. We needed about $2.25 million to make that project come to fruition. We had a community partner, which was the Choctaw Nation. I called the chief and had a meeting with him, explained to him our situation, that we really didn't have the matching funds, knowing that they have helped out with other communities and ours included. And within a couple of weeks, we got approval for $750,000 to, as a community partner, to help us expand our wastewater facility. So when I met with Crystal Geyser and their ownership and management, we started this discussion, and it came about to the point of us possibly buying the water rights via Crystal Geyser. And it's kind of a little bit confusing, a little bit complex, but essentially this is the way it is. Roseburg owns currently owns the water rights to the 2.0. Crystal Geyser has negotiated a price of $2.2 million with Roseburg to purchase the water rights and immediately sell the rights to us for the $1.2 million, $1.207 million. And when I started having my conversations with them, I kind of said the same thing. It's like, why are we doing this? What is in it for Crystal Geyser? And Paige with Crystal Geyser, his best explanation to me was, we have been in this city for over 20 years. The city of Weed has been very, very helpful for us and our business with our workforce and making us a very profitable business here in Weed. And we'd like to give back into the form of a donation of $1 million toward the $2.2 million. And we would like to immediately sell you the rights for 1.2 million and finance that out over the next, because they were aware that we were in a lease, it was a public thing, we were in a lease with Crystal Geyser. And for the public, essentially what we're doing right now is we're spending about $100,000 a year to lease the rights to the water. And essentially, we're renting the spring with providing us the water. And what this will do, if this council tonight agrees to do this, will allow us to purchase the rights and finance over the next 12 years, basically making the same $100,000 payment, but instead of to Roseburg, to Crystal Geyser at no interest. So, of course, there had to be a lot of attorneys involved in this transaction, and we have been hammering this out for the last few months, especially trying to get it worded correctly, and we did. So before you tonight is an agreement from Crystal Geyser to purchase the rights to the 2.0 of the Bohan Springs for 1.2 million, and we would agree to give some form of, I'd have to get with Bob, or a letter in regards to the donation of the 1 million to us too. And I'm sure they'll use it as a tax write-off of some sort, which they're entitled to do. So, and by doing this, it will terminate our lease immediately with Roseburg, and it will dismiss the lawsuit that was filed back in January of 2020, I believe. And the city has invested a lot in that case, and but I think it's now coming to an end, will help the bleeding as far as our litigation cost as well, which has been substantial over the past few years. So to me, it's a win-win. We get the rights, we terminate the lease, we drop the lawsuit, and we move forward. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but since I have so many conversations about them, you hear me, I hope the public understands this is a great deal financially, and then I hope on our bills we can change it, not saying water lease, because the $9 will still stay there,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We can change that terminology, something else that's more, because not a lease anymore.
No,
No, but we're still paying.
Right, but I'm saying the word lease in our statement,
We'll
do
take the
something
word
positive.
lease
That's something to think about it.
to purchase rights, so.
Yeah.
Maybe have that purchase, because it's not lease anymore, because people say, we don't want to, we want our rights on our name, we got that, we see the name now. I have these conversations daily, I just said something to think about, instead we have to just consider it.
Sure.
It's your messaging and your communication and your statements,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and that's great, thanks for all the work on that.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
Jim,
Jim,
still back there?
Yes.
It's time.
it's time.
It's time, very good, thank you very much. My name is Jim Taylor, I live 810 Hillside Drive here in Weed. I'm the president of the Water for the Citizens of Weed, California. Our organization was formed about 5 years ago to fight for our town's water. We said we would not quit until we secured our water the full 2.0 cubic foot per second we have always had, and this evening we will finally accomplish that goal, we hope. I first would like to thank two of our former mayors of Weed for inspiring and motivating us, Dave Pierce, may you rest in peace, and Jim Gabetta. Without their insights, historical memory, and belief in the justice of our struggle, we never would have come to this point. We would also like to thank the members of the Weed City Council who faced many difficult decisions, challenges, and stress over the last 5 years as they have tried to do what's best for our community. Your dedication and commitment will long be remembered. We would also like to thank our city manager, Tim Rundell, city clerk, Sandy Dookie, our legal team, and all other city staff for the hard work you have put in for securing this agreement. Today's agreement would not have happened if the citizens of this community had not stood up and fought for what was right. Our group was only the tip of the iceberg of the many people, friends, neighbors, community members who supported our cause. Many people outside our community, journalists, photographers, lawyers, documentary filmmakers, and civil rights defenders also helped publicize and support our struggle, and we are also very thankful to them. This is not the perfect ending. Some people will question why we will have to pay anything at all for the water that we have long believed was ours legally. But we have to play the cards we are dealt. Life involves compromise. We believe this agreement represents a very good deal for our community, one that secures our precious Pond Springs water forever at an affordable cost. Therefore, WCWC strongly supports this agreement and urges our council to approve it tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Bruce, were you gonna speak?
Hi, Bruce Shoemaker, 800 Black Butte Road. I just want to echo what Jim said so eloquently, and just emphasize our thanks to the City Council. You've done an amazing job over the last 5 years in trying to deal with a very difficult situation, a lot of challenges, and also both our past and current city administration, Tim and Sandy and everybody else who's helped with this. We couldn't be happier that this is going to all be behind us, and it's a great outcome. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay. Would either of you two like the honors of this? Yeah, microphone.
Bob should do it.
I will go quickly because I think Bob has more to say, but I would like to ditto on what those two previous gentlemen have said. I would also like to thank Crystal Geyser for being a very good community partner, recognizing the value of being a morally just community supporter. And I think that says a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. Bob?
I could almost cry. Very, very important day. Like myself here a little bit, I had a lot I wanted to say, but I'm going to start off with understanding and appreciating my council members. I, in our group, we were formed to support the city council and also to try to influence the city council to fight for our water rights. And as we fought, it became quite apparent that justice doesn't really come automatically. It costs money. We were $450,000 and I think it was April of 2016. And we received a letter from Alan Ford from Roseburg. And he told us, don't waste another $450,000. And he was right. Because what he was saying, this isn't going to be judged. We're going to break you. Once we enter into it. And that's what the legal system, that's what I found. That's what we found. So the only thing that we had going in the beginning of the Water for We Citizens is the understanding that it was a moral issue. You're not going to take, in 2007, I came to the city council. They were putting in a cogen plant here, and I came to the city council and I told them, I said, please negotiate the water, if nothing else. They're coming in, let's negotiate the water. As I left the building, there was about 5 or 6 people outside waiting for me, saying, what are you doing, trying to start trouble? They're not going to take our water. They're not going to take our water. Well, and that's pretty much what the community felt. And what motivated Roseburg, I don't really know. I do know that in 1996, Kenneth Ford sent a letter to the city of Weed saying, we're not going to renew your lease in 2016. That was 20 years ahead. So we knew it was morally not correct. And we had to make a stand. How are we going to make a stand? Well, what we found is we had a very compelling story. Our story went to New York Times. There was actually a story in France. 2 documentaries were made regarding this. And KGO talk shows, Ken and I were on that, with Bruce on talk shows. We we did everything we could. We were scrambling. And in 2016, after we had signed the lease, we found the original letter that was the clerical error of the whole thing. Because in 1982, August 5th, Robert Steele sent a letter to the then resource director for International Paper, agreeing to give the 2.0 cubic feet to the city, at the same time allocating the water to the Weed Golf Club. And that's how it was done. In 1983, we became the owner of that water as far as the state goes. So that letter was on August 5th. December 22nd of 1982, Roseburg Forest Products bought International Paper out. So we were listed as the owners. In 1996, Krista Geiser came into town. Krista Geiser came to the city because we were listed as the owners of the water. And so they wanted to lease some water. So the city council was in the process trying to work that out. Well, Roseburg intervenes and says, no, we have a 1966 lease that was signed for 50 years. It would be up in 2016. They still owned it. So what happens is there was what we could find is a limited search for information how this happened at the state level. They couldn't find any paperwork at all, none at all. No paperwork. So it's kind of, remember that in 1982 we lost 750 union-paid jobs overnight. Boom. Now the city council at that time they were interested in jobs. So there wasn't a lot of concern about this water because it was 20 years down the road. We had water for 20 years. So as this thing progresses, in 1996, Krista Geiser starts buying water, leasing water from Roseburg. And we continued being the owners as far as the state goes until 2007. Until 2013, we actually paid the water fees for this. So there was an issue there. In 2011, we began negotiating with Krista Geiser. With Roseburg Forest Products. And we said, we would like to extend the lease. No, we'd like to purchase from you. You can't afford it. We did everything we could trying to work this out. So, and I back up to 2014, we knew this was coming, so we tried to, we found that J.H. Baxter had 0.89 cubic feet per second. So, okay, this will help if we could get this aid. So we were in the process of purchasing this from J.H. Baxter, and Roseburg intervened again. They took them to court, and now they were the owners of that water right. So it was a moral issue. We had nothing to stand on. I believe it was in May of 2016, a fellow was cleaning out his garage. And he found a document. The document was the 1982 letter from Robert Steele to the resource director of International Paper, stating that this water was being given to the city, and it gave the summary to International Paper of their water rights that they were going to have. And this is August of 1982. Like I said, in December of 82, International Paper sold to Roseburg. So everything was progressing, and in 2016, it appeared that we had nothing to stand on except this moral issue. But then when we found there was a legal right, we had some legal standing, we came to the city, our group came to the city and said, will you go with us to the water district to see, to show that this was a clerical error. This whole thing was a clerical error. And the city council voted 5-0 to go to the water district. The next day, the city was sued by Roseburg, and 9 of us were sued. individually. Now, I don't know how many people have been sued, but when you're sued and you go back home to your family and say, I'm being sued. Okay, 2 days later, here comes a fellow serving the papers. He gave us that stack of papers 300 pages deep. He tells us, I'm being paid $10,000 to deliver this. We're looking at the paper, and the stack of paper. Now, what the game is to let us know that we're going to be paying, the loser is going to pay for the attorney fees. This is called a SLAPP lawsuit, strategic lawsuit against public participation. And I'm getting excited about this because it was terrible. And, you know, we had many, I heard this story from people in town, secondhand saying, what did they expect? You fool with, you mess with the bull, you're going to get the horn. But this group of people that I was with said, we're not giving up. We're not giving up. We went to court. Took us a year. We went to court and finally had that found in our, basically our First Amendment rights. Because we hadn't said anything other than, wait a minute, hey, there's evidence here that we got to look at. Now, this thing was a moral issue that it turned into a legal issue, and now we had this lawsuit when it's finally taken care of, and you know all the articles and one newspaper article after another, and letters to the editor, and trying to keep people interested in this, that there was a fight for it, and lo and behold, morality is prevailing. Morality is prevailing. Crystal Geyser is offered as I'm going to back up just a second. I don't know what year it was, but Citizens United, through the Supreme Court, there was decided that corporations had rights too. They had the same rights as a citizen. But it was evident that the corporate world wasn't interested in being a citizen, or at least the corporations we were talking to weren't. But Crystal Geyser's made an effort here now to step forward and do the right thing. They're really doing the right thing. And that there is just so many people that have on our side of it, but there's a lot of people on their side have done the right thing too. You know, we could talk about, you know, the visits we had from previous owners of Crystal Geyser, but it doesn't really matter. What matters now is we're taking a step forward. There's something happening that could be a major, major change for our community. And I like to, you know, call everybody out, but there are so many people. But for the people that, you know, the people that were sued, it was myself, Dave Pierce, Mike Yates, Jim Taylor, Jim Gambetta, Mary Jackson, Ray Strack, Monica Zendig, and Bruce Shoemaker, excuse me. And we've had some other people helping us, but these people stood up for the community and fought. And my point is that when there is an injustice, we have to stand up. And we did. And I think that what we're going into with Crystal Geyser is a fantastic thing. And we owe most all of this to one man. And that was the former mayor, Dave Pierce. Dave Pierce put together a 30-year-old story. There was no story. He went to the county and to the state and copied that. We have 2 suitcases full of paperwork. And we got it together. He got it together, and then and Ken's part of the process too. We went through this over and over, not knowing what we were looking for, just trying to put the story together. How this happened? A lot of work went into that. But the main thing is that we kept it up. We didn't give up. And it's something, I'm not saying this to toot our horns, I'm trying to tell, it's a matter to the public to know that when there's an injustice for one, there's an injustice for all. And fighting sometimes is the only alternative we have. And to be afraid to stand up is it's a weakness. But the people that that I've been with, I'm just so honored that we kept this. And not only the people that in our group, the council. I mean, the council very well could have been split. I never once felt coming into a meeting that I was going to be attacked by 4 people when I was going across against grain. Everybody knew what I was doing, knew that what was right. But the council had to do what was financially feasible for the city, and you did. But it has, by all of us doing our part, we're at a point now that it's tremendous. What an ending to a long split story. To come together like this, it's wonderful, and I want to, Tim, I think you did a fantastic job ushering this through, and I think that the council should be, I think we're all happy, but it's time to put this thing to bed and move on.
And so you make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept, this what are we? Agreement, just agreement. I make the motion, we accept this agreement with bells on.
And I agree with you to thank Crystal Geyser for stepping up and doing the right thing.
Exactly.
I'd like to second that.
I would like for you to second that. Thank you. It has been moved and seconded to approve the agreement with Crystal Geyser to purchase ownership of the Bohan Springs. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good. Thank you. Yay.
I think a clap is allowed.
One more thing, please do me this favor.
You get 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'd like to take 30 seconds, moment of silence for Dave Pierce.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Bob.
Thank you.
I
All right.
told you my version would be shorter.
We
I
knew.
warned you.
He didn't just show up here yesterday.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. I would like to pull A and B off the consent agenda. Thank you. All approved? All,
Aye.
okay.
Aye.
All right, so we can go ahead and approve the C and D? A motion to approve the consent? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to remove A because I would like to say thank you for Craig, to Craig and Sandy, because they have worked like crazy people on this for the last 3-4 years.
2009, just pulled up some paperwork today from 2014.
2014. And it will get the holes down there on Vista Drive. It will be a stoplight. It will be new concrete, not pavement, concrete, so we won't have ginormous holes. And thank you very much for all the hard work you guys have put in on that. It's going to be great.
We went back out to bid and we got our 3 bids in, and the bid at right at $6 million. And they're at the $6 million, EDA has accepted it, and now we can move forward and award the bid to Timberworks.
And that's even better that it's staying local.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Craig. And then I wanted to pull B with the contract with May 10, and thanks, Steve. for all the hard work that he's doing on trying to, this project will get the city extra money for the fire department. And, that is also a great thing, and thank you, Steve, for working hard on getting that done. And then, never mind, I probably can't mention it because it's not in there, but Crystal Geyser did the right thing with the fire department too. We'll get to talk about that next month? Yeah, okay.
I make a motion to approve A and B.
I have a question, sorry. It's not, it's a very minimal, but I know by protocol we should do it for the,
Consent, yeah.
on the meeting minutes for February 11th, it was, I sent a message, but she said they were all agreeing on some comments. It was you speaking, but she said me, so I just sent for correction there, so it's nothing to approve, but just for information only for the February 11th meeting minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
I will second Kim's motions.
For A and B.
For A and B.
It has been moved and seconded to approve A and B under consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Staff reports. Who wants to go for, Emily, why don't you go first?
As the only non-coronavirus.
No, Steve.
Not really a great thing. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in the middle of our financial audit for the year end. We got a little delayed due to circumstances here at City Hall.
Hey, King, can you put your mic up there so she can talk? That might be easier.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
All right, we're not being crazy. No crazy. No craziness. So yeah, we're in the middle of our financial audit for the year end. Things are going pretty smoothly considering we're doing most of it virtually. He will be up here into this month. We have started cannabis tax collections as dictated by you guys. So that's starting to, we're fixing all of the, we're hammering out the details of that. So collections will start becoming a little more consistent. Those are all reflected in the financials that are part of your agenda that you just approved. Yeah, I think everything else is good. Any questions?
No, thank you.
I have a quick question.
There was a very big shout of glee out of my office. Well, when I get the money, yes, but just to have that on paper, that was part of the stimulus package that was just signed today, that we are to receive a good chunk of funds that can be used in a number of different ways to help support the city, and we get some much needed funding to get some stuff done. So we're super excited about that, and we'll just kind of biding our time, waiting for that to
Yeah.
come through the door.
When that gets her.
Kind of like my tax return that's been sitting there forever. I'm like, hey, can I have that? So, yeah, no, very excited about that.
Thank you. Steve? You guys get up here and use the microphone.
Glad we're getting some money, because I actually need some, no, I'm kidding. I do have some bad news. We did put in for a radio grant. It was countywide. I think you guys remember me bringing this to you guys. It was for like $57,000. Somebody dropped the ball up in the northern county, and the grant did not get submitted. So we do not get the radio grant. However, there is a VFA CAL FIRE grant. It's called something else now. They changed the title of it. And we can get radios through that grant, which I will be bringing to the council next month to apply for. We do it probably every year, so.
Good.
That's a 50-50 match. It's $20,000, up to $20,000, minimum of $5,000. And whatever you spend, they spend, but the max is $20,000, so. Also, Crystal Geyser donated a trailer. Well, they just donated money to us, $13,500. We did pick up a trailer. It's a dual axle trailer to use for the technical rescue team. Brian is in charge of putting that together. building shelves, putting it together. It was in the newspaper, I believe, or it's going to be. Did you guys see it?
Oh,
Okay,
was there,
good.
oh,
It's a really nice trailer. It's gonna serve us well. We are the only team in the whole Siskiyou County area that has a technical rescue, which is confined space team. And that gear is gonna be stored in there. It's in the bay, so it's a really nice trailer. Also, with that donation, we're gonna be able to get breathing equipment, which is needed because ours is outdated, so it's being ordered right now, so thanks for Crystal Geyser for that. Appreciate it very much.
good.
Still working with CAL FIRE on Hammond Ranch. There's been nothing new to report on that, except for I asked for another meeting, and we haven't had it yet, so I'll report when I get some more information on that. Any
Okay.
questions? All right, thanks.
Any questions? Nope. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Would you like to go next, Chief Mayberry?
Just an update, hoping to come to you next month, possibly with the update for the dispatch consoles. We're still working on getting the quotes from one of the entities that we're working with. It's actually one that the fire department regularly works with, but hoping to have that for you next month. I don't have anything else unless anybody has any questions.
Nope. Thank you. Craig, you already got to say your say?
Oh, I got some more I can share.
Oh, good.
All right. Last March, we came to you and we applied for a CDBG application for about $3.5 million. $500,000 for housing rehab and $2,700,000 for water and sewer grant and $225,000 for planning and technical assistant grant for stormwater. And we received the $225,000 for planning and technical assistance on our storm drain system. So next month, we'll be coming back to you with a sub-recipient agreement for Great Northern to get this started, and then we'll go from there. So maybe next time we'll get the other ones.
Huh. So that doesn't, because they gave us the planning, doesn't mean they're planning on giving us the rest?
No.
Oh,
No,
people
that's
don't
all we
think like
got out of this
Isn't
one.
that great? That's a good thought, huh?
Maybe the next round.
Okay. There, okay. Tim?
Mayor, Council, first of all, I just want to point out something, we kind of joked around about COVID sweeping through City Hall, which it did, unfortunately. Nobody knows how and why and where it came from. We just know that within about a 3-day period, pretty much everybody on that side of the City Hall tested positive, with the exception of 2 of my department heads that have been fully vaccinated, which is a testimony into itself. Get vaccinated if you don't want to get COVID. So I highly encourage people to go do that. Even if you've already had COVID, you can still get vaccinated. But I would like to point out, Emily, when we had the layoffs and everything last April, she lost 2 employees out of the finance department and was, already doing a lot. And then we got 1 back kind of on a part-time basis. Well, for about a week or so there, she was by herself doing everything. I mean, everything in that department. I just want to thank her personally for stepping up and doing that, and with very, very little complaining. Not zero. There was an occasional.
We need to buy you a cape?
I can't repeat the occasional grumble that I heard. So, but and to the rest of the staff too that stepped up. In our public works department, they were pretty skinny too for a few days, but we've made it through that. And today, getting back to the Americans Recovery Act, I did sit in on a Zoom call with the Sac Valley city managers. I think there's about 30 of us on the call today, and Charles Anderson from the League of California Cities, or Cal Cities now, was asked about the distribution of the funds. As Councilmember Palfini pointed out, We got a spreadsheet from the state showing what the allocations are going to be. It was kind of fun to open it up and see those amounts, because the last time we opened up and saw the amounts from the last CARES Act, it was $50,000. This next round, we're going to be receiving $513,000. Now, it's not just a check that you can just go do whatever you want. There's certain stipulations that you have to do it. But as Chief Mayberry stated a few moments ago, there are some definite needs within his department. There's some needs in the fire department. Craig has needs. These are things that can be met with this funding, which is good because that frees up money for other projects and other things to do. So we're really excited about that. It's something that I think is going to be extremely helpful for us here, especially with some capital purchases and infrastructure. So one other quick thing I want to talk about is I've been in communication with Doug with the College of the Siskiyous.
Haugen.
Haugen, yeah,
Yeah.
and I apologize. Anyway, he and I had a follow-up conversation in regards to the proposed dormitories that were being built. He has expressed to me that, when we had the last couple of meetings, we had to kind of break the bad news about the sewer capacity that was going to happen because as a result of building those. And he has let me know that they want to work with us as well as we want to work with them in coming up with a remedy that's going to be suitable and helpful for, maintaining our level of wastewater treatment that we have to do as well. So, I know a few people were discouraged after reviewing some of the capacity issues, but I think we're going to get there. It's just going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of elbow grease, but we desperately want those dorms to be built because that frees up housing, because it's a 400-bed proposed facility, which that's a lot of college kids. And that frees up a lot of housing around here for our workforce. And that's important to us as well because we know, I know Roseburg's got a ton of openings right now, as well as Crystal Geyser and some of these other things. And when Ray's project comes in, there's going to be job opportunities there. So we know we have a need for housing, and that was one of the key things that we talked about a couple days ago with the Zoom call that Councilmember Palfini and I were on was the housing availability. That seemed to be a touchy point with a lot of communities. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out and also let everybody know that on April 6th, we'll have our budget meeting that had to be postponed from March, unfortunately, due to COVID. And we will be in discussions. We'll be looking at a lot of capital issues that we currently have, take the council out for a little drive with the weather permitting, which I think it will be better shot in April, of our wastewater facility, our springs that we now have the water rights to, and looking at some of the street issues. Craig's going to line up some of that, as well as Chief Mayberry, Chief Duncan are going to show some of the capital needs that they have out at the station. We'll go out to the station, and Chief Mayberry will kind of give us a brief review of what the new equipment that he's needing to replace is going to do back here. So that shouldn't take too long. But anyway, just wanted to kind of keep the council in the fold on that as well as the public.
That's April 6th, 9 a.m.?
9 a.m. to noon. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I will be out of town that week of April, and so we have a budget meeting and we have our council meeting. So I could, if Jeremy says it's okay, I could probably Skype in, or you can excuse me from one or the other.
I believe it's under the current rules, you can still Skype in with no problem. So.
Okay.
Okay. That's all the staff? Okay. Adjournment.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes?
One thing I wanted to ring in, some people touched on it. Since we evolved with the League of Cities, I had the immediate release that they left yesterday, and I just want to read a paragraph of it. So it says, "We applaud today's vote by the U.S. House of Representatives passing the American Rescue Plan that includes $65 million in much-needed direct and flexible relief for cities who have been hard by the pandemic." And these last two sentences I really like what they say, and we've alluded to it. This funding is a lifeline for cities that have been on the front lines for nearly a year, spending billions to protect public health, deliver essential services, protect vulnerable, populations, and help small businesses survive when experiencing billions of dollars in revenue shortfalls due to the shutdown of our local economies. And we all have heard within our city, our businesses that are affected. I've heard from owners and people who live here. And it's going to be a big responsibility for us to decide with your leadership, Tim, where the money goes. And so I'm glad to see that we're going to be very decisive. And for the people that are listening, we are going to look for the needs of the city. It's not anything personal that we're going to be doing, what's good for the city as a whole. So that will affect people across the board from A through Z. I just wanted to mention what this League of Cities said since we've been a partner of them for many years. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second it?
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn at 6:40.
Good work.